With the 13th overall pick in the 2025 NBA draft, the New Orleans Pelicans drafted a big man out of Maryland. He's a very fun player to watch with his passing and scoring ability at his size. He has incredible potential and upside, and his name, it's Mr. Derik Queen. Welcome to Basketball Intuition. I'm your host, Ethan Simon. Today, we're going to be talking about Derik Queen of the New Orleans Pelicans. To start, we're going to be talking about his skill set, and later we'll talk about team stuff and his fit. But real quick, I just want to ask, is it the consensus that everybody is out on Willie Green at this point? Yes, cool, great. No, why? We're going to start with DQ's build, his playmaking, dribble handoff, pick and roll work, scoring, and defense, and then the other stuff at the end. Okay, so Mr. Queen is 20 years old, turning 21 in late December of this year. On the court with shoes, of course, he is 6'10" with a 7'1/2" wingspan. And when it comes to his weight, he listed at 250, so give or take. And then if we talk about his athleticism, he doesn't have the most athletical build, but you didn't draft Derik Queen for his athleticism, you drafted him for his skill set. And the last thing before we talk about his playmaking passing is he does play with a lot of passion and excitement and joy. It's difficult right now to be joyful on the Pelicans, but he's doing as good of a job as he can, I feel like. Now, the most intriguing part about Derik Queen's game, in my opinion, of course, is his passing ability. And this is something we've seen grow through these first 9 games of his career. Earlier in the season, he didn't seem as willing to make those gambly, tight bounce passes and stuff like that. But with more time, he has been getting more comfortable, and he's going to continue to get more comfortable with these tough passes. We're talking about a quick decision maker with his ability to make those long one-arm passes and the bounce passes. He can punish double teams. And my favorite and most impressive passes that we've seen him make are in that high post, top of the key area, really just anywhere in the middle of the court. And for bigs especially, that's where they're able to be the most effective as the core of an offense or the hub of the offense. Because if you throw doubles at a big in the middle of the court, you're leaving open a lot of passing opportunities. And Derik Queen is able to punish that. He's able to make those passes to cutters, those lobs and bounce passes. Those 2 that he threw up to Trey Murphy were absolutely ridiculous, by the way. But again, the angles that he's able to take on these bounce passes, whether it's just to a cutter or he's getting double teamed, it's really impressive at his young age that he has such good vision and accuracy, especially on those bounce passes. He's able to throw it one hand, 2 hand. And also when we talk about those one-handed passes, he's able to make those quick swing passes that are super zippy and accurate. And again, you put all these things together and you get a guy that's able to use his patience alongside his skill set. By the way, I didn't say that, but he's able to be very patient as a passer and take his time, which I really like. I'm very poised in that area. Posting up Devin Vassell, he gets a double team thrown at him from Jeremy Sohan. He just retreats a little bit and waits for an option. Herb Jones sees he needs some help, and Derik Queen is able to use the baseline to make a tough bounce pass to Herb for a good 2. And it's not only these quick little passes to cutters in the half court, but he's also to make long go-ahead passes in the transition. He is able, with his handle and passing ability, to get the rebound, push the floor, go coast to coast, pass the ball, score the ball. Whenever he gets that rebound, he wants to push the pace. He had one crazy pass to Zion that was a turnover in the transition, but other than that, he's been really good there. And the biggest location, like I said, where he's a passing threat is at the top of the defense, top of the key at the nail. But whenever it comes to his physical position, it is in a triple threat. Whether he's posted up, he's in a face up, just standing there with the ball up here waiting for somebody to cut or do something like Jokic. But he's much more of a passing threat in that kind of situation than off the dribble. Yes, he can pass off the dribble, absolutely. But a lot of the times, whenever he puts that ball on the floor and he's looking at the basket, he's going to score the basketball. And we're going to get to his actual scoring itself in a minute, but I want to talk about his bread and butter first, and that's going to be the DHOs, the PNRs, and the triple threat. Really just overall as a player, that's where he's going to be at his best. But first, I want to talk about the actual screen setting itself. In the first portion of his games, I felt like he was setting really weak old screens, but I feel like more recently, he's been setting much better screens, and I can really appreciate a good solid screen. It was really on the down low, and it didn't turn into anything, but I even seen the man pull a Gortat screen. Let's take a look at this possession where he's really all over the court, starting it out on a post-up on Seth Castle. And then Mr. Hawkins comes over, and they turn that into a dribble handoff. Sets a really good screen on Jeremy Sohan. Ends back up on the perimeter to Herb Jones, swing over to Jose Alvarado, and then here comes Derik Queen setting an off-ball screen on Carter Bryant, and then he goes and sets another screen on Champagnie. He slips it really quickly and well, and it causes a miscommunication, and Jose Alvarado gets a really nice pull-up 3 out of it. My favorite place that we've seen him score, other than like the fun ISOs, of course, is that fake dribble handoff. He has gotten some really tough buckets off dribble handoffs. He had one late game to end up in a foul against the Dallas Mavericks. He had another one against Klay Thompson that was just disgusting. And I just love guys that are able to pass and score out of dribble handoffs, like a guy like Kyle Filipowski I talk really high of. But here's the thing about the dribble handoffs. If he is able to add a 3-point shot, and he did it against the Spurs, that's the only 3 he hit, I'm pretty sure. If he's able to add that 3-point shot, in those kind of actions, and really just overall. We're going to talk about that more later. Matter of fact, we'll talk about it right now. If he's not able to add a three-point shot, it's going to be difficult for him to be effective off the ball, because right now he's really not that effective without the ball in his hands. He's just not. But if he's able to add a three-point shot, he can be a spot-up option. He could be a pop option. He can pull up off the dribble handoff. Like, if he's able to add that three-point shot, we're taking his ability to be an overall threat from here to here. And the last thing before we talk about the scoring in itself is he is turning the ball over a fair amount right now, but that is a part of his progression, and that's going to be a part of the experience with Derik Queen right now. And the Pelicans suck, so it doesn't even matter to me personally. And some of them are just like miscommunications, him getting stripped up, losing the ball. Other ones, him trying to make these tough bounce passes and it being really close but just not quite there. And those really are most all of his turners, plus some offensive fouls, being moving screens.
Hello friends, if you're still here and enjoying the video, make sure to hit the like button. You don't have to, but I'd appreciate it if you did. And make sure to check out the Playback TV link in description. I stream live games. Pull up, watch some games with me. Back to the video.
I was going to take all these off, but this is really a vibe. To the scoring. I feel like the consensus most part about Derik Queen's scoring ability is his tough ball handling. My personal favorites is like whenever he brings out that crossover, the spin move. He had that tough rip through against the Mavericks. That was such a nice move. And then against the Spurs, we saw multiple possessions. If you reach on the man, he's going to teach you. He had a tough behind the back on Jeremy Sohan. And then a crossover on Steph Castle whenever he reached on him too. But yeah, you love the ball handling with his big self. And something that I briefly mentioned earlier was those face-up type possessions. Or really just isolation with his versatility. And we know that he is very creative. He does stuff that guards do. In the isolation of those face-ups, he can shoot that push shot. He can absorb and finish tough shots on the inside. He can finish at the rim, directly attacking the basket. Those high gathers over the smaller defenders are absolutely disgusting. He hit one last night, and he's even working on that pull-up, and he can shoot that midi. That fadeaway midi is just tough. He can just flat out score. Like, Derik Queen is a bucket getter. Not a compare. Well, it actually is kind of a comparison. But like, he's that Nas Reed type. He's that big jelly. He's that 6'9", 6'10" dude that can handle the ball and get a bucket. And one of the most impressive parts about his offensive skill set, and something that just puts all these things together, the ball handle, the inside scoring, the post work, is his footwork. For a 20-year-old, Mans has elite footwork, especially in that post. It gives him those options to hit that spin move, the fadeaway midi, the hook shot, the high gather to finish on the inside, the Euro step, all that kind of stuff he can do. And even the footwork comes into play on those fake dribble handoffs and stuff to get to that spin move, and everywhere. Like, his footwork is just elite. And one thing I really like about him as a post scorer, he's not a back you down, punish you, put you in the rim. He's a finesse. He's a skill guy. And then when we talk about him finishing at the rim, he's got good touch around the rim. He's not shooting very efficiently really anywhere, but we've seen some great flashes with that touch around the rim. Very, very crafty at his size, able to go up and under, reverse layups, all that kind of stuff. Now, he really definitely very much struggled whenever he was playing against the Luke Cornett type or the Wembanyama type because of their length. And for example, Wembanyama is not only taller and longer than Derik Queen, but he is also quicker. Now, this is a very extreme example because Wembanyama is the defensive player of the year without a shadow of a doubt. But on more of a night-to-night basis, he's going to be able to do a solid job against other bigs on the inside. He has been shooting that hook shot, trying to shoot over them like last night against Man, but he's not really getting that hook shot to fall right now. I think he's probably gotten one or two of them to fall. But I would like to see him continue growing that shot because it's going to be really important for him whenever it comes to finishing over these taller defenders in the post. That hook shot is just going to be pivotal. It's the type of shot and has the potential to be his bread and butter in that post area against longer defenders. Now the next thing that we'll talk about that I already just kind of threw in there a minute ago with the jump shooting. I will say there are some good indicators that say, it's definitely a possibility that he could be a solid jump shooter one day. We look at his free throw percentage, 78%. When it comes to big men, especially, that can't shoot the three ball, well, he can somewhat shoot the three ball, but you get my point. Are they shooting good at the free throw line? Is his jump shot mechanics good? But the jump shot mechanics are very solid in itself. Good set point. The lower half is pretty solid as well. He just needs more confidence in that area. And more reps, and it's going to take him some time. He wasn't a high volume or high efficiency three-point shooter at Maryland. But again, he's one of the guys right now that he needs the ball in his hands to be effective. And when it comes to a tweener 4-5 big man, you don't love that. And typically, I don't really like tweeners like the 4-5. You can't really decide if you want him at the 4, if you want him at the 5. Him and Colin Murray Boyles, I both really like a lot. So they're exceptions. But here's the thing, right? And we're about to get into defense, so I feel like I can say this now. Derik Queen is going to be most effective offensively when he's playing the 5 because there's not another big that's clogging up the paint. He's able to stand in the high post at the top of the key and able to pass to cutters, be in that post up and pass to cutters, swing passes to the outside. But if there's a big on the inside, it's going to kind of clog up the paint a little bit and take some of that away. Not completely, but it's going to make it more difficult. Like Jokic, for example, doesn't play alongside Valanciunas because that would be a lot going on, and it's better to have quick guys that can make these cuts to the basket and shoot the 3 ball, space the floor around Jokic than it would be to have 2 bigs out there. But then the problem that comes with that is what we're transitioning over to now. Defensively, he is not a hub. Defensively, he doesn't have the physical abilities to be that shot blocking, that guy to anchor your defense because of his lack of verticality. He is an undersized center in today's NBA. He's more of a 4 type. Yeah, he's more of a bigger 4. But if he was more athletic or had some stupid 7'5" wingspan, then you could make it work. But he doesn't have that right now. And I'm not coming out, crapping on his defense off the rip because I do actually have some really good things to say about his defense. But my point is just offensively, he's going to be better when he's the 5. But defensively, he's better as the 4. So it kind of brings this problem. What do you do? I mean, if we think about the most effective way that you could play him, yeah, you could play him at the 5 and have your defense struggle a little bit more when you have these really tough matchups. But then defensively, if you throw a long 7-footer with a long wingspan that's a shot blocker and can shoot threes, then you're really talking, you're really rolling. A guy that's mobile, athletic, big, long, shoot the 3 ball. But that's not an option right now for the Pelicans. So for right now, in my opinion, let the man play the 5. So this is Kevon Looney's on-off stats. If you look at the very bottom, you see negative 25 points per possession offensively. But then you see negative 3.5 defensively, meaning that, he's been solid for them defensively, better than he's been bad, but offensively, whenever he's on the floor, the team is much worse. Now, if we look at Carlo has been really effective offensively, but defensively, he has been not that. We look at Yves Missi, he has been positive offensively, but negative defensively when we look at stats, when it comes to his on-off. And of course, it's really important when we talk about, context for these things, but I just want to look at these real quick and just set the scene. Then we look at Zion Williamson. He's been fairly neutral in both of these areas. And then we look at Derik Queen. He has been very positive offensively, and he also has been very positive defensively. The team being better on defense when Derik Queen is in the game. I know to some of you, this might come as a shock, and you might just be like, well, stats can lie. Yes, they can lie. And I'm not the type of guy to pull out a bunch of stats. This is the first any kind of stats that I've shown you the entire video. Yes, there is bad when we talk about Derik Queen defensively, but there also is a lot of good that people throw to the side and kind of just forget about and just decide to just, not talk about it because they want to, like, there's one guy on Twitter, I'm not going to throw a name out there, but he craps on Derik Queen any opportunity that he gets, and it's just not warranted. I'll start by saying the Pelicans defense sucks right now, so sometimes it makes him look worse than what he actually is. With possessions with bad communication or bad switches and just stuff like that, and also due to the fact his effort is inconsistent. The reason his effort is so inconsistent is because they're down by 30 half the time, and Willie Green always decides to make these bogus rotations with him. He'll have him come in with like 2-3 minutes left in the third quarter, not play any of the third quarter, barely play in the second quarter, and then have him come in 2-3 minutes left in the third, and then play him the entire fourth quarter. For a big that isn't in the best physical condition, that still needs to work on his conditioning, this doesn't make any sense. Unless you want the guy to be out there completely exhausted and not be able to give full effort, then yeah, it makes sense. But if you want the guy to maximize his minutes, then it doesn't make any sense at all. And another negative thing before we talk about positive things, he's fouling a lot right now, simply. He has struggled to guard a guy like Zubac, those big, tall guys that are also strong like Zubac. He couldn't handle him. Victor Wembanyama, he actually had some really solid possessions on Wembanyama, but they do call a lot of really cheap fouls on him a lot of the time. And some of them I don't feel like they're fouls, other ones I do. But this is another one of those things with the turnovers and the fouls. This is just a part of his growth right now, and it's going to take some time. And I want to make it clear that I'm not trying to say that Derik Queen is no elite defender. I'm not trying to say that he can anchor a defense. I literally started the defense off by, the defensive section off by saying I don't want him anchoring a defense. But he isn't as terrible as people like to make him seem. He has actually had some really good straight up defensive possessions and shown some great flashes despite all of these things that I've said. Defensively, his foot speed on the perimeter is actually really solid. There was one possession that literally had me dying. He was out there with the kick step like he was an O lineman. And then I had to look up if he played football in high school, and he didn't. I was like, that's crazy. But on the perimeter, he really does a fairly good job. But where he struggles mostly is when he's getting bang down low by Zubac, and he just can't hang with him because Zubac is stronger and he's bigger and he's more skilled and more experienced. You know, a lot of the time he does a good job at absorbing contact, and that's how he's actually been able to get a fair amount of blocks, by just going straight up and absorbing contact. But other times where he's not in a position to do such thing, the guard or the forward can just put their shoulder into his chest and he's going to go backward enough, and he's not as long or as athletic, so he can't really recover unless he's absorbing that contact off the initial bump. And the last thing that's really impressive to me, and my favorite part about his defense, the most impressive and flashy part about his defense, is his hands. When it comes to rebounding, his hands aren't that great. He does good whenever he's tipping the ball up in the air, you know, trying to make something out of that. But when we talk about hands defensively, just ripping the ball away, he actually does a really solid job, and I think defensively his hands are really good. And that would be my biggest upside. And another thing is, I know how I had talked about how he's fouling a lot right now, but I do feel like there are a lot of possessions where he does a really good job of making you just play over top of him. Like Wembanyama, possessions where obviously he's not going to block Wembanyama's shot, but he can get a high hand and he can contest it and make Wemby make a tough shot over him. And that's really all I had to talk about when it comes to Derik Queen today. I want to talk about some Pelicans stuff first. Number one being Pelicans fans, NBA fans, Zion Williamson. Are we sold on Zion Williamson when it comes to his time with the Pelicans? Do you want to see this keep going? Do you want to see him get traded? Do you think it would be good for the team to keep him? Do you think it'd be good for the team to trade him? Willie Green. Is it time to get Willie Green out of here? Me personally, I don't see why not. I can name 4 coaches probably off the dome that are better options than Willie Green. Mike Budenholzer, Taylor Jenkins, Mike Malone. I mean, I don't want to say this last name, but because I don't know if it'll be better than Willie Green, but Frank Vogel's out there. Like, there are other options at the coaching position than Willie Green. Kevon Looney is still starting. Can we talk about that? I get that you paid the man some money and he's a veteran, but personally, I say let Derik Queen go out there and hoop. The Pelicans don't have their first round pick. I'm going to say that again. The Pelicans gave up their first to get Derik Queen. So let Derik Queen hoop. The man should not be playing 16 of his 24 minutes in the second half. Let's actually stagger his minutes in a way that makes sense. And usually I don't get all fired up about other teams other than my Bucks. I feel like I can do this. I just watched every Pelicans game for this video basically. Like, I don't get it. Maybe I'm missing something. I get that it's team politics. That's really what it boils down to. It's team politics. I don't care. I'm pro basketball. Let the hoopers hoop. Enough of that. Get Jordan Poole off the team too. I ain't Jeremiah Fears is a bucket. I'm making a Jeremiah Fears video in the next month. You believe it. I've already got half of it done because I just watched every Pelicans game. I just kicked my camera. It might be a little off center now. It always is off center. You get it's fine. Real quick, I'm going to be fast today, really fast today. Quick comment of the day is going to be to all the people that suggested that we do the Derik Queen video today. So I'm going to put all of you guys up on the screen. Thank you all very much. I really greatly appreciate your support on the last video. And I very much hope that you enjoyed this one as well. Jesus Christ loves you all. I love you all. He loves you more than I do. Be strong and courageous, friends. The Lord is with you at all times. Be bold and be joyful in Jesus' name. Take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful night, wonderful day. Take care of yourself, your family, your friends, if you have any. I hope you're doing well. If you're not doing well, truly, I hope it gets better for you very soon. Let me know in the comments any videos you want to see me make next. I'm open to any and every suggestion. Within like 3-year players, like guys that are in their first 3 years. I don't really talk about older guys. I really talk about rookies, sophomores, and I guess juniors now. And yeah, man, I'm going to see you guys very soon. Again, have a wonderful day. I love you. Peace out.